Okay, so we want to welcome our guest here to our presentation on the LegalShield business opportunity. My name is Rocco Cilio, and I am the Network and Business Vice President here in the state of New Jersey. I have the good fortune of introducing our presenter here. This gentleman's meant a lot to so many people in the LegalShield business. Our company's been around for almost 50 years, and one of the pioneers, somebody who's just helped so many other folks have success. He's going to be giving us a quick overview on the future of where we're going. So I have the honor and privilege of welcoming here to our presentation none other than the Regional General Manager for the whole Northwest region of the country for LegalShield, none other than Mr. Patrick Shaw. And I'm going to turn it over to you, sir, to kick things off.
Mr. Cilio, I certainly appreciate it. And listen, we're going to be very brief as we go through this presentation. We could not be more excited about where LegalShield is as a company, and most importantly, what that can mean to you personally. Now, for the last 18 years, I've been associated with LegalShield, a 40-year-old company that has literally created a proprietary network of law firms all over the United States and Canada. We are turning the legal industry upside down. But one of the challenges has always been, how do you get the word to the marketplace? How do you expand and tell the story? Well, because of recent advances in technology, it has created the greatest time in LegalShield's history. And we're going to share some of that story. Now, we've all heard the story probably of Uber or Airbnb, companies that came into an old industry like the taxi industry, a $17 billion industry, and turned it upside down. Uber is now a $50 billion company. Now, I'm going to draw some parallels here because we're going to talk about the future of LegalShield and how our future has dramatically changed and how it can have an impact on your life personally and financially. Our business and what we're looking for is folks that are hungry and motivated that want to spend about 7 to 12 hours a week on a part-time basis to get a business started and off the ground. And in doing so, I think we can all agree there are a few fundamentals that are important in starting a business, especially today, and especially for the part-time person. Number one is it has to be simple. And using that Uber analogy, right, think about what a person went through a few years back when they wanted to catch a taxi. They had to call the company, try and figure out where they were and what the location was and what the cross street was. And then the taxi company say, hey, we'll see you in about 30 minutes. And then you stood there and you waited and you waited. Today, with a push of a button, leveraging technology, somebody can catch a ride. It's changing that entire industry. So the businesses have to be simple. We can agree disruptive is a good idea. The legal industry is a $300 billion industry, if you can imagine. People are priced out of the legal system. For common everyday situations, they don't have access. What if we could give them access with the push of a button? So disruptive, noble, life rewards purpose. People want to do something that makes a difference, that they feel good about. Number 4 is not easily replicated. You know, if anybody can jump into the business tomorrow at a low cost, then that means the margins are very small. It's hard to make any real money. But if you can find a business like LegalShield that has created this proprietary network of law firms over 40 years, it's very hard to replicate the business model. We already have 15 consecutive years of increased earnings on the New York Stock Exchange. We've got over 100 people that have earned over $1 million in personal income. And we have a network of attorneys to help our members all over the United States and Canada. It's very difficult to replicate that model. And if you look at the trends of the past, Steve Jobs says it's very easy to connect the dots of the past, but it's difficult to do so looking forward. But there is a lot to learn from connecting the dots of the past, as Jobs said. And we're all familiar with Blockbuster and what happened to Blockbuster. Well, Apple TV, Netflix, Hulu, Amazon, they all happened to Blockbuster just that fast. How about Kodak? Steve Saxon invented digital photography, and he worked for Kodak. And they thought, you know what? We're making too much money processing film, manufacturing film, selling the cameras that the film goes into. It'll take a long time to disrupt this model. And as we all know, it didn't take a long time. And Kodak didn't get to profit, even though they were the reason the technology was invented. Then, obviously, along came Instagram and everything else that digital photography was used for. How about Virgin Records or the big retail CD stores? It seemed to happen almost overnight. Instead of $25, you got a whole album and you only wanted one song, you could literally buy one song. Pandora, Spotify, you name it, for $1. How about hotels and motels? Well, Airbnb is disrupting that entire model. Now, they may survive just fine, but Airbnb, in a few short years, has currently is booking more rooms per night than the largest hotel chain in the world. That tells you how fast can technology change. And if you look in New York 5 years ago, that was an average street with taxis everywhere. And the reality is today, because of Uber, that technology, that industry is being shifted. Well, the legal industry, a $300 billion industry, people need access. It's one of the largest, oldest industries in history, but the average American simply doesn't have access. They can't find out if they're right or wrong about a simple situation. And LegalShield is changing that entire game. Established in 1972 by Harlan Stonecipher. He had a simple automobile accident. It was not his fault, but he was named in the suit. He was sued personally, even though he wasn't issued the ticket in the automobile accident. A woman came over the hill in the car. She was in the wrong lane, and there was a head-on collision. Now think about this. Every one of us have experienced some situation that was unfair. We've been overcharged by a retail provider, or maybe tried to take a defective product back, or our insurance company didn't pay a bill they should have paid. We received a traffic ticket. We needed a will prepared. Perhaps we needed a contract or document reviewed. What did you do about those legal situations? Well, that became LegalShield. And what we did for many, many years is we carried a membership card around with us. Yes, it was antiquated, but we shared that membership card. When we needed to call the law firm, we pulled it out of our wallet. We got really fancy a few years ago, and we actually created a membership card that you could put on your keychain. But the reality is the market has changed. And as we've talked about with Uber, Airbnb, and other companies, they're leveraging technology to change entire industries. And because of a gentleman named Jeff Bell, who has been on the forefront of incredible technologies, has been executives in some very large companies and helped companies launch things like Halo that just had its 20-year anniversary and exploded on the scene leveraging technology. Well, Jeff Bell is helping LegalShield to change our entire game, much the way that AAA did. An old company that was around for a really long time, and they had a membership card just like we did. But they said, hey, we're not going to lose this established market we've created to competition because we don't move into technology. And if you look at AAA's app today, it's incredible. You can let people know where you are, all the functions that are necessary. And this is exactly what LegalShield has done. We have apps today that will allow people actually for free to download contracts and documents, to autofill those contracts and documents, and then print them out, to get questions answered, to take pictures of traffic tickets, all with the push of a button, and send it to law firms. Now, you'll hear more about that from my friend Rocco Cilio right now. Rocco has built a tremendous business, started on a part-time basis. He was in the mortgage industry and successful, had built a business. But the mortgage industry, like many industries, took a hit, and he was looking for a better option. So he said, hey, I'll work on a part-time basis. I'll see how this vehicle works out for me. And Rocco, you can share the rest of that story and how our incredible product works. And thank you for being on the call, my friend.
Yes, sir, Mr. Shaw. I appreciate it. And I'll tell you, the first time that LegalShield came into my face, I was told that I could pick up the phone and call a lawyer as often as I needed to for $20 a month. And all was introduced to me was a brochure that had some wrinkles into it. It was aged. And I didn't care what the rest of the brochure said, to be honest with you, Mr. Shaw. I just remember thinking to myself, the person who showed me this, he doesn't know it yet, but I'm signing up, because at that point in my life, I don't know if I spent more money when I needed to hire an attorney for things, or if it cost me more money when I should have hired an attorney, but instead wound up making some bad decisions because I either couldn't afford it or I didn't even know where to start with and who to call. And what LegalShield has done is taken both of those excuses out of the equation. I just needed to know that the service worked. I became a member pretty quickly. Within a few days, I used my membership card back then, and I was able to get in touch with an attorney who called me back, answered some of my questions, reviewed some paperwork for me, and I thought to myself, either they just went through a whole lot of trouble to pull one over on me, or this thing is very real. So the further that I got behind the curtain and looked at the compensation plan and the direction of the company, I knew it was something that I wanted to align myself with. And as you mentioned, I needed to make some changes. So here we are sitting on the cover of Success from Home magazine, which is a national publication that's all over the country now, and that talks about the value of a business opportunity through our company. It talks about being able to take people from all walks of life that understand what you talked about, it being simple, disruptive, noble, and not easy to duplicate. And there sits our app right on the cover of that magazine, talking about having the power of a law firm right in the palm of your hand. This has replaced a membership card. You can see here on some of our features the ability to get unlimited advice and consultation, along with letters and phone calls made and written on your behalf from a law firm should you wind up in a situation where you need that help. Again, if that's all we got, that would have been good enough for me for $20 a month. But then when I was able to realize there were other features that I could take advantage of, I was able to, I guess fortunate or unfortunate, to receive a 3-point traffic ticket about 2 months ago because I made an illegal left turn that I didn't even know was illegal. The officer didn't really believe my story. I had to wind up trying to convince him, getting nowhere. He pulled away, giving me the ticket. I immediately took the ticket, pulled out my mobile app, took a picture of it, uploaded it right to my law firm, right from that mobile app while I was still parked. Within 10 minutes, my provider attorney called me back, let me know about some of the discovery they were going to do, told me best case, worst case scenarios. And just a couple weeks ago, I had my day in court where my LegalShield attorney was right there with me. I got to be the first one to see the judge after she walked up in front of everybody else waiting in line to speak with the prosecutor. She came back over to me and said, all you need to do is just respond yes to whatever he tells you. All rise. I get up in front of the judge. He tells me, hey, did you commit this act, whatever it was? I said, yes, sir. He said, $80 court fine, see you later. Mr. Shaw, it didn't cost me a dime for my attorney to be there, and I received no points on my ticket just from having access to this service and that mobile app.
That's awesome.
Yeah, a few other things that we have access to that we really won't even get into here now, but you know, the ability to have our wills prepared for us matters. And I remember the first time I looked at the brochure in its entirety. I remember I thought I just had consultation and advice, and it started talking about, hey, you can have your will updated and prepared. And I was looking around on the rest of the brochure to tell me what the extra cost was to have the will prepared. And I couldn't find it anywhere. I talked to the gentleman who introduced it to me the day before. He said, no, it's included in the service. But you know what? Over the past 7.5 years, Mr. Shaw, I've seen so many people enroll in this service because they wanted to have their will prepared for their family. They understood the importance of it. They understood that it could be very expensive typically, but they wound up not getting it done because there wasn't a convenient way to do it. Well, now it's right there with the mobile app. The fourth button on our mobile app actually connects our members to our member services department. Should they have an issue with billing, or they need to update payment, or they have questions on some of the benefits that they have access to, they can again get that right in touch with our member services people with the push of the button on that mobile app. And then the fifth button might be the most important, and hopefully it's something that you never have to use, but it's better to have and not need it than vice versa. If our members are ever in a situation where they're in an accident, they're arrested, questioned, detained, or child services attempts to remove children from their home, they have that mobile app that they can pull out, push a button, and within just a minute or two be connected with an attorney on the spot to be able to give them the best possible advice and consultation for whatever situation or predicament they have themselves in. And so better to have something like that and not need it. And, when we wrap all this together, what we wind up finding out is that there's actually another service that we've been able to put onto a mobile app that might be just as important as our legal service plan. And we all know identity theft is the largest white-collar crime in the history of the world. Every 2 seconds, somebody new is a victim. Well, just like our legal plan, we've been the leading provider of identity theft protection services and restoration services for a number of years. But with the advent of technology now, through our partnership with Kroll Advisory Solution, we've now taken services that we've done for a long time, enhanced them through technology, and put the power right back in the palm of our members' hands. They can do things like review their credit profiles, get real-time updates, as well as having 24/7 emergency access and consultation with the advisors from Kroll, who would step in and repair the members' information if they ever do need it to be restored in any area of identity theft. So that's some pretty valuable stuff. And we know 70% of all identity theft issues become legal problems anyway. And I think that we've just unearthed two of the biggest problems that our country has right now with two very palatable solutions. And when you're talking about a $300 billion industry and the rapid growth of identity theft, there's a need for what we do. And all we have is right now. So the reality that has now formed with us is being able to move this into a business. And I'm going to turn it back over to you, Mr. Shaw, to talk about the marketing plan here and how folks can participate and take advantage of the timing.
Mr. Cilio, I certainly appreciate the overview, and hopefully people got an idea. Even though this overview is incredibly brief, you have an idea of how incredible this product is, and it's month to month, and there's no contract. Now, Mr. Cilio, what folks don't know is they can get all of that for $19.95 on the legal side and $19.95 on the identity theft side. Now, you can buy both services together, bundled, or you can market them individually. And what we get to do is we get to market these products and services. And we do it through technology, simply having people download free apps where they can find out more. They can pull documents and forms and print them out. They can get questions answered. And when they see a value in the free platform, they go, hey, listen, I would upgrade for $19.95. That's one way we take the product to market. You see, it's simple to do. We've all said to somebody before, hey, do you have this app? You got to get this app. That's something simple we can do. Now, how did you hear about all these other brands? Facebook, Uber, Spotify, Instagram. How did you hear about them? Word of mouth, right? It was simple. That's what LegalShield is doing. It's word of mouth marketing. We don't need salespeople. We need people that use our product. They believe in our product, like the 4 million members that we have today already. How do you get 4 million members? You have a service that has an impact and can make a difference. And we all know people right now that need access to the legal system. Now, there are people out there that would say, hey, well, why don't you run commercials? Well, look, people aren't watching commercials anymore. Between Apple TV and Hulu and Amazon and Netflix, people aren't watching commercials. I know when I record a football game, Rocco, I don't watch the commercials. Everybody in my house knows come an hour and a half after the game starts, and we'll end right on time, but we don't have to watch a commercial. Why not radio ads? Same thing, Pandora, Spotify, etc. Why not billboards? Look, people, just kidding, right? Don't text and drive. But you get the idea. So what do? Well, we put Facebook on steroids. Now, Facebook said just share the story. Word of mouth. No advertising. Uber said we'll do the same thing, but we'll pay people to tell other people about the app. So Rocco, if I want to go downtown with you and you're not currently an Uber customer and I refer you to Uber, Uber will give me a credit and they'll give you a free $20 ride for trying it for the first time. Isn't that amazing? Now,
Absolutely.
Uber paid us to tell people about their platform. All LegalShield is doing is saying, let's put that on steroids, if you will. Let's turbocharge that. Not only will we pay people, but we'll give them a way to generate a real business. Not a one-time spiff or a, hey, thank you. We'll let them build a business around LegalShield. So the first thing someone does is they create an account for $99. Simple, one-time fee. Now, anybody can buy our service, and they do not need to create an account. You see, most people will just buy our products and services. But this presentation is us looking for people who are saying, look, I want a solid company. I'd like to build a business. I don't just want to own your service. I'd like to be able to market your service. And incredibly enough, this may be hard to believe, but LegalShield, on a $19.95 LegalShield membership and a $19.95 identity theft membership, we will pay you $100 in commission for marketing a $39.90 membership. Now, immediately somebody will say, well, how is that possible? Well, because we know people keep the service. And because they keep it, we will pay an advance commission. And once you've marketed only 6 memberships, we will turn around and we will increase your level to senior associate. We will pay you $120 in commission, and we will pay that direct deposit in your checking account the day after the membership processes. So if I market Rocco a membership and he goes, hey, I need this. He shared some of his story. He bought the service, $120 I'd be paid the next day. And you can continue to move up our compensation plan. As a manager, we pay $140 in commission the next day on that same $39 membership. But you can also start to build a team. And this is where we pay you not only for your personal activity, but we pay you as you start sharing this story with other people. So if I am a brand new associate and my friend Rocco is a manager, he earns the difference between what I do and he does. So if I market 5 memberships, that's $500, you see. Right? And Rocco earns the difference. Well, 5 memberships times $40 is $200. That's what he earned in overrides. Now, does he have an incentive to help me market those memberships? You bet he does. How about director? You move up to the next level. It's $190 per membership. So if I'm a manager and Rocco's a director, he's earning $190 a membership. That's a $50 override. Well, what if I have a team of people and that team of 12 people can market 1 LegalShield membership a month? Now, folks, we have people by themselves marketing over 50 memberships every month by themselves. But what if you had a team that marketed 12 people that marketed 1 membership a month? That would be $600 a month in overrides. If you marketed another two memberships yourself, that's almost another $400. We're talking about close to $1,000 a month that you would earn in part-time income. What if it was 12 memberships a week? That'd be $2,400 a month. We're talking about paying your mortgage or more. How about executive director? An executive director gets $280. That's what they earn personally when they market a $39 membership, and you get paid the next day. Well, your override on that might be $140 a membership. And 1 membership a week by 12 people doing 1 a week would be $6,700 a month. Folks, this is real money. This happens every day. This is not hypothetical stuff. Now, does everybody do it? No. You got to go to work. You got to treat it seriously. But the beauty is you can start part-time, 7 hours a week. Go make an extra few $100s. That was my story. My life changed when I was introduced to LegalShield. I was 7 years out of school. I was $37,000 in credit card debt. I desperately wanted to change my life, and I was introduced to LegalShield. And the first year, I earned $55,000 in income. The second year was $125,000. You say, how? Well, it was overrides. I was building a team of people. And you can take it as far as you'd like to go. We have people earning in excess of $50,000 a month. We have people earning in excess of $100,000 a month. Now, that's ridiculous income, yes. But the beauty is you can start small and build big. And I think the best part is the fact that we have truly leveraged income. Now, what do all these people have in common? And why none of us may reach the wealth of these individuals? Here's the reality. The wealthiest people in the country have figured out how not to trade time for money. They have figured out that residual continuous income, building something that's leveraged, is the key. You see, when Michael Jordan and a pair of shoes are sold, a pair of Air Jordans are sold, he gets paid. Now, he doesn't have to manufacture them. He doesn't have to be there. He has an agreement. And every time a pair of shoes are sold, he gets paid. And it doesn't matter whether he's golfing or he's working, he's getting paid. You see, in LegalShield, we can go out and we can share an app with somebody. We can tell them the LegalShield story. We can market a membership. And every time that happens, we get paid, even if we're not directly involved in the sale. And even if we're laying on the beach, hopefully not in a suit, right? We get paid. Now, the future, it should be simple, disruptive, noble, and not easily replicated. And I think you can see that LegalShield has that. There are trends of the past and there are trends of the future. And if you can find a rock-solid company that has a proprietary network of law firms, but they're leveraging future trends, and you get to participate, that could be a game changer. We've got marketing, and we've got it where we'll pay you to help spread the word. Compensation, commission, overrides, and residual income. It's all part of LegalShield. Now, you can see Uber is the world's largest taxi company with no vehicles. Airbnb, the largest accommodation provider with no real estate. Move on down. Netflix has no television cables. Instagram sells no cameras. LegalShield is going to be the largest provider of legal services in the world. And we'll own no law firms, but we will connect people through technology. You see, this business just makes sense. What we're asking you to do is do your due diligence. Get with the person that invited you. Get your questions answered. There has never been a greater time to get started in LegalShield. And for only $99 to set up an account and test it, to see if we can back up everything that we've said. And at $500 million currently, with over 100 people that have earned $1 million, with testimonies about our incredible service over the last 40 years, you can trust we know what we're doing. Take a chance on yourself. Get with the person that invited you, and thanks for listening.